Hey guys, welcome back to our channel. Today we're going to be working on the rental a little bit. I don't know how much I'll actually film, but I'm going to do like maybe a before and after kind of thing. So let me turn you around here, and so you got things like that going on. That shouldn't be leaking. We'll check it. All right, see how that's like gapped open. We'll come through and we'll caulk all that. We'll pull all these nails and stuff. We may, I don't know. But we'll clean that up. And this junk, I think they overflowed the bathroom upstairs or something, I'm not really sure. But we'll end up patching a few holes. We'll have to put all the boards back in the pantry they took out. So this is the before. I don't like them shelves. We'll probably take them completely out. The hallway here. All that gapped up. We'll pull all that, and well, we may not pull it out, but we'll at least caulk it, and we'll replace this piece. May end up replacing this vinyl more than likely. And this is the 12x12 sticky tile. It's just crappy anyway. I guess this is the master of this place, the master bedroom. There's cobwebs everywhere. This room, I think, will just be a paint for the most part. It being block on 3 or 2 sides, and the sheetrock don't look bad. Just paint the door and paint the room. Maybe patch a few holes, may scrape it a little bit where it's got some knots on it. It's where the, can't see, but that's where the people under the stairs live. We're going to end up tearing out some of that and putting new floor joists in. It's sagged. We had a leak there. We'll have to fix that. And don't misunderstand that I wasn't a good landlord or something. You have to realize that anytime we come down here and do repairs, you're crawling in roaches. So there's only so much as a landlord that I'm going to roll around in filth. You know, I'll do what I gotta do, but I don't want to have to do it because you're just nasty, you know. See, some of this, that's not necessarily her fault. We'll work on some of that. This thing's got a decent roof on it. I don't know why we may have a leak. We may have to check that out, but this is the color that's on it. This is the color we're going with. You'll see the change. I had my guy come down and start cutting in. I'm gonna lighten it up a little bit. He's already started cutting it in this room, so we have to paint the ceiling. He's already cut it in, and then hit the walls. This room will go quick. I don't think he did that. I think somebody else had started trying to paint this room and they just quit. So we'll probably paint that with we have a blue, but I don't know if that's the same or even close. You can see where he started cutting in here. And this is all the before, and the carpet is horrible. We'll have to clean the carpet. And what's crazy is when I installed this carpet, I had some guys put it in, and like I had a renter stay here about 6 months, and it looked this bad in that 6 months. So like, that's why I say they've been in this house a couple of years. This is not the worst I've seen. We gotta paint the doors. So mainly upstairs is really just paint and clean the carpet and clean the bathrooms. We have to fix this door. We have to get some different bolts here or screws. So just mainly cleaning upstairs. Well, most of the house, probably 80% of the house is just clean and paint. There is some repairs, some touch-ups, some little maintenance, but all right, this is before. We'll get going and see what we got. All right, so let's say you got a bucket of paint. It's been sitting for a while. It's been somewhere cold, been somewhere hot. Been a while since you've used it, but it still looks good. All right, so you'll get clumps in it if you don't filter. So what I do, you can buy these filters. You can even use pantyhose if you want to, but it's a screen. So you actually put the screen in it. And so when a bucket sets and it's not been stirred up in a long time, you tend to have a discoloration, a lighter, darker color as you're painting. You'll notice that as you're painting out of this bucket, there's more pigmentation. I think it kind of sinks to the bottom, so or different. Anyway, so what I do, you get like these chunks. If you can see down in there, there's like chunks, and you pour your bucket of paint into a clean bucket with that screen in it. And you want to get all you can because the paint's still good. It just has to be filtered to get the debris and any of the crusty parts. So what you'll have is when the paint starts drying in the bucket, you'll get little chunks of pieces or whatever. So we're trying to get away from that. So when we paint our wall, and we're trying to mix the color back in too. So if you hear me coughing or gagging or whatever, it smells like cat piss in here, so it's horrible. And I do have allergies, so. And see how it's kind of nasty looking, stringy paint. And so what you end up having, so you take your screen, you end up having these, and you let it filter through this thing, and it will keep the chunks in the screen here, and it mixes your paint as you're doing this. It smells so bad in here. So ultimately the idea of this is to just get the chunks out of it and kind of remix the paint so it goes on the color we're looking for. It doesn't look one color over here and kind of a different tint over there. So this will, in theory, kind of mix it back up and clean the big chunks out of it. I don't know if we'll have enough to paint the entire house. I don't know how it'll go. I mean, having to get some, and your paint stores don't always get the correct color. So what you want to try to do, if you end up having to get a different color or more of it, keep as much of the old as you can for touch up, at least half a gallon or so, or even a gallon if you can, if you end up buying it by the 5 gallons. And what I'll even do is, if I have enough left over, but I know there's not enough to finish the job before I even start, I'll take 1 gallon cans of whatever color, and I'll just, let's say I got a 1 gallon can that's close to this, where we've just bought it from a, I guess where they mist tint. Sometimes we'll buy some, and I will just dump it. If I got, let's say 3 gallons or so, I'll dump the mist tint in here and just mix it up before I start. So instead of having 1 gallon of one color and 3 gallons of another, I dump it all together, mix it up, do some, they call it boxing. When you take a bucket of paint and a clean bucket and, and you mix it back and forth, and that way it mixes the colors together a little better. You can even take it to like your local paint store and they'll actually shake it up for you and won't charge you anything. So you want to try to get all you can out of this stuff. And I like to paint out of a bucket when I'm rolling. And so you got that right there, and then you just take your your handy dandy roller, and then you just roll off of this green, boom, boom, boom. So, and that's how I paint. I think I'm gonna paint ceilings first before I get into it. And yeah, I gotta mix my white paint up too, so yeah. But that's what I do to keep my paint with the chunks out of it and have it look halfway clean without all the trash in it. But that's just me. Gonna have some halfway decent smelling sauce in here because it's horrible. And I'm gonna even open the window a little bit. Oh my gosh. It's horrible. So, like I said, my guy's already cut it in. I don't think we'll have enough white paint. And maybe, we'll see how far it goes. I got at least enough to do this room. Then we'll get I got another 5-gallon bucket of it. And I'll paint out of the bucket, see, so. And that's all over the wall. Ah! Yeah, I'm being messy. This something's wet. This paint's wet or something. Like too thin. I mean, not wet. It's too thin. Alright, so the paint was way thin. So I actually boxed it a little bit to thin it out. And it's going on a lot better now, so. And I have kind of a thick roller too to help it go in there's gaps in these tile. And that way I don't have to go back and try to cut in these tiles one at a time. So I use a roller that's thick enough to get inside these tile. Less painting, less work on it. So. It's still got to be clean, so I ain't worried about it. And yes, I'm not a professional painter. I hit the trim. I end up having to touch up 2 or 3 times. It is what it is. So, you can see it's going on a lot better now. What I do, I'll set myself up to paint both colors. So I only have to move my drop cloth as little as I need to keep going. So I'll actually paint this color the same time I'm painting the other color, the white. And so I'm not having to move my drop cloth to go around to do the ceiling. Then I'll move less times. And you can kind of see the difference of, you know, what the color is and where we're going with it. So it's going on pretty good. It's covering good. And again, the benefit to using a thicker roller is, for one, you can get in the deeper precipices, and for two, put more paint on at a time. Depends on how this looks. I more than likely won't have to go back and put a second coat on it. And it's covering pretty good. I don't think we'll have much issue with that. So we're getting about to the edge of it here, so that way you can, well, I've got a roller mark, I'll get it in a second. So you can kind of see the difference in it. We'll back up here and let you, so it's going to brighten this area up entirely. And that's what we're doing. Alright, I'm going to continue on. I've got paint all over my camera. I think I've got it all over my face, my shirt. So I'm going to continue on and paint what I can. I'd like to get quite a bit done today. So I'll film what I can, where I can, but I'd like to get these two rooms done and get started downstairs today. So, which shouldn't be a problem, but it's got to happen. Alright, here we go. Alright, so I'm about to call it a day. I got this room painted, all except for just a little touch up and trim. The door, I didn't have the white semi-gloss to paint it. I can't do the window trim with it because I don't have the semi-gloss. I ended up doing some caulking. Some of this was already done, but I finished up the caulking in here around the sink a little bit up around through there. So tomorrow, got a couple of guys going to come in and start before I get here. I've got to get some more paint, but this room, I ended up, it's kind of dark, but here, end up having to put a little more caulk in a couple of places. But this room's painted out. See if I can get you some light in here so we can see. Back off here. I may end up having to show up tomorrow and give you some. There we go, it's brightening up a little bit. But the ceiling's painted. The door has to be painted. I did caulk a little in here. I caulked around that window and a few spots on these ceilings. I cleaned that up. I did some caulking downstairs, but I'm gonna call it a night. I don't know where we'll be tomorrow. I know I gotta get some more material, and I've got two guys starting in the morning with what we've got left. Let's see where it goes. See you guys tomorrow.